Really wish y'all would stop fucking acting like you can. If the ends don't meet, the ends don't fucking meet. What y'all are doing is putting the onus of a predatory cyclical system on the victims of said system. Because when you really fucking think about it, people who have less to spend have to be more vigilant about how they fucking spend it. You thinking that people lack financial literacy because they prioritize joy one time, prioritize feeling important or confident one time, is absolutely fucking insane. And I don't think that y'all realize how much you're perpetuating the fucking negative stereotypes of poverty. The way that y'all are making it seem like poverty is just thrust upon people and people do nothing to get out of it, as opposed to it is cyclical, it is on purpose, it is fucking expensive to be poor. It is fucking illegal a lot of times to be poor when you really look at the laws and how they function. Y'all want to feel better by holding these financial literacy classes, by trying to teach people financial literacy, as if that's gonna make them make more motherfucking money. Like, are y'all really serious? Y'all cannot sit here and be like, oh, we need to fight for better wages for me, but then poor people, oh, that shit is their fault. Like, come on, y'all really need to stop the shit. You cannot financial literacy.
And it's been going on for quite some time. The United States was, is, and looks like it's going to continue to be a racist country. When the president of the United States is openly racist, when the president of the United States blames people of color for plane crashes and everything else that he can think of, when the president of the United States does that, you live in a racist country. When all of the people in power right now are stripping away diversity, equity, and inclusion, claiming that that's the problem with the country, diversity, you live in a racist country. When half of the voting population chose a game show host, convicted felon, found liable of SA and fraud, when they picked him, considering the other choice they had, one of the most qualified candidates in U.S. history. There's no argument about that. When they chose him, you live in a racist country.
I probably won't get better for people for a while until this system collapses and you can replace it with ideally a non-system. What is a non-system? A non-system is like gravity. We don't have to have a law that says that gravity needs to function, right? We don't need to have any rules. There's nobody enforcing gravity. Gravity exists by virtue of the planet's existence, whatever it is. Flat or sphere, doesn't really matter. Things don't float away into the ether, and that's because of gravity, okay? So you don't need to have a system for gravity. Gravity is the system. Well, this would be the same thing that you would do when you have a unit of measurement. If you have an accurate unit of measurement for your energy, human energy, which is a monetary system, which means that you don't need to have a system to run that. You just have a hard currency that matches the existence of matches the finite existence of human beings. I've gone over this many times. I'm not criticizing the question. I'm just answering this for anybody. Like, that's how this works. If all you do is just say, okay, let's have an actual hard unit of measurement for human energy and human action and human activity, then we don't need to have a system. That means, and if you don't have to have a system, that means you don't have to have somebody running the system. And if you don't have somebody running the system, then you don't have to worry about somebody being corrupted, because people will corrupt. That is a natural part of human existence. That is the fundamental problem of human. It's part of the human condition, right? We're all hypocrites and we're all horrible people to an extent. To a certain point, we all have that problem. And rather than ignore it, you instead lean into it and go, okay, I get it. Now let's go ahead and remove the human element from it. And that doesn't mean computers or AI, because AI and computers are created by humans. So that doesn't work either. So all the tech bros out there preaching this nonsense, that's just to get investors' money, dude. That's pump and dump. That's all that is, okay? So but the laws of physics that exist on the planet, you can work within those confines, and you can do the same thing with human energy, and you can do the same thing as long as you have an accurate unit of monetary measurement. I don't care which one you guys pick. Just pick one. Or pick.
I never seen Quincy Jones' Family until 5 damn minutes ago. And like, is that Carlton? What the?
This is our $1,200 a month pet.
Can the TopScan OBD2 scanner do a throttle body?
Go fishing with my family.
No.
This is a message for poor and middle-class white people. Your life doesn't suck because of trans people. Your life doesn't suck because of immigrants. Your life doesn't suck because of black people. Your life doesn't suck because of any of the minority groups that you've been trained to hate. Your life sucks because the billionaire class has stolen $50 trillion from the working class in the last 40 years. $50 trillion in productivity that should have gone to your labor and wages has gone to the 0.1%. Not even the 1%. The 0.1%. There's 800 and something people in this country who are billionaires. 800 and something out of 330 million people. And those 800 and something people have set up a system to where you and all the working class have to pay all of the taxes and do all of the work while they take all of the money and keep going to the bank. Your life sucks because of the billionaire class, not because of minorities. Please read a book.
Finally crash out, because the crash out is coming. It's going to be epic because we can't own homes. Grandparents are not grandparenting anymore. We're never going to be able to retire. The millennials that had kids early are struggling with daycare debt and trying to figure out if they're going up to a minivan or an SUV when they can't afford either one. The ones who wait to have kids don't want them because they can't afford them, because I see the rest of us on the struggle bus. And we're trying our best. We're trying our best. We're surrounding ourselves with mugs with words on them that we don't believe. We are insulating ourselves with all the things that made us feel good and safe in our childhood. We're trying to escape into our grandparent era. And to top it all off, there's no time to meet people. There's no way to make friends. Everywhere where you could get community either is way too expensive, you live too far away from it. Like, we've been priced out of community. This is why that midlife crisis conversation is happening. Not because we're not always in a state of crisis, because we know we are, but because we have, it's become too much for us to even keep up with through our regular means of coping. Sometimes I wonder what this crash out is going to look like, and I don't know, but when we finally decide to do it, it's going to be funny. Am I the only one
in existence? The fact that we still believe that there's some savior that came here 2,000 years ago and is going to return somehow miraculously. He's going to crack the sky and he's going to come and save all those who are still here experiencing tribulation. Like, the first time he came, he didn't do the job, but when he comes back again, this time he's really going to come and save the world. Although when he came the first time, he didn't come to save the world. He just came to unalive himself for the world. Like, yeah, what good did that do? What did that change about the world by him doing what he did on the cross? Like, what happened? What changed? How did the world get better? It didn't. The world continued to do all of the heinous things it was always doing. It hasn't changed. Things have gotten worse for the world, because that's not the purpose of scripture. That was never the purpose of the Bible. It wasn't about someone coming to save some people. But I get it. People don't want to take personal accountability. People want to look for someone outside of themselves to help them, to give them a helping hand, someone to, reach out to them and be their leader. People love leaders. People don't like personal accountability. And the pastors, the church leaders, they will love to usurp their authority over the weak-minded, those who aren't going to use their mind to really think for themselves. They want someone else to think on their behalf. And so, yes, the church leaders, they will gladly oblige. They will gladly tell you, hey, if you don't get 10% of your income.
I'm sorry, but can someone please tell me what's going on? Like, what is happening? Why does it feel like this? How come everything feels all...
You ever feel like something's just off? Like the world is glitching and no one really knows why?
Everyone is all... And the whole world just feels kind of... I'm having trouble coming up with the words, but does that make any sense?
All right.
I'm going to recommend you go ahead and like save and bookmark this video, because you're going to have to come back to it in like 6 to 12 months to watch it and be like, how the fuck did this crazy redhead know what was going to happen? Now, while I was trapped grading notebooks in hell today at work, I missed a lot of adventurous things in the news apparently. So as I was getting my afternoon news recap, one particular news story stood out to me, and that was Elon Musk and Marco Rubio getting into a pissing match during a cabinet meeting. Now, is there anything surprising about a cabinet meeting in Donald Trump's administration devolving into chaos? No, nothing surprising there. In fact, that just seems like a Tuesday. But what was interesting about this one was that the altercation between Rubio and Musk went on for what is described as an uncomfortably long time. And in the end, Donald Trump sided with little Marco and like praised the job he was doing, called for use of a scalpel, right? In terms of firing, which is basically like huge, screaming, loud neon signs saying to everybody, I am going to distance myself from Elon Musk now because he is very clearly a liability. So honeymoon is over, everybody. And what that's going to look like could be a couple things. And you're going to hear a lot of people throw out like the more boring whatever, like he'll purge him from the administration, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go full tin foil fucking hat. Here's where we'll be in 9 to 12 months. Buckle the fuck up, kiddos. Because if I know one thing about Donald Trump, it's that he loves nothing more than he loves money. And if I know anything else, it's that Elon Musk has more than Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is, in the billionaire club, kind of the poor kid, worth a measly $9 billion. Pocket change to Elon and his 400 billion plus, 400 billion plus, right? So Donnie is the poor kid in the billionaires club, and he doesn't want to be the poor kid in the billionaires club. He wants to be the richest man in the world. That's why he admires Vladimir Putin, because Putin is one of the richest men in the world. And you know how I told you the world goes crazy when there are kings named Charles? Well, there's a king named Charles who has an obscene amount of money, and a little Mr. Vladimir Putin who wants to be king, who has a bunch of money. And all that's standing in the way of Donald Trump being the richest man in the world is a pesky little fuckwad named Elon, who is very clearly pissing everybody off everywhere you look. And I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump doesn't have his departments look into him for financial fraud, make him take the fall for any of the economic fallout his dumbass economic policies are having, seize control of all Elon's assets, including SpaceX.
I said to my son, I heard Trump is in the hospital with stomach problems. He said, oh, but is that Trudeau? I said, no. Dummy. They're saying he couldn't stop Putin. I said to my son,
the Constitution of the United States and the Bill of Rights and all of this independence was for white men who had money. It's never been about everybody from day one. America does not care about your rights. America does not care about your freedom. America cares about money. The reason that the Civil Rights Act was passed is because of the Montgomery bus boycott that lasted 18 months and almost bankrupted the city of Montgomery. Mm-hmm. These white people did not all of a sudden want to give us rights. It was because the city almost went bankrupt. That's why. The day we start remembering that America cares about money first and foremost, and not about your feelings or your freedom or your rights, things will actually get done. I do not understand how people who live there, who have lived here their entire lives, do not understand that America is about money. That is it. America was started as a business. Corporations started America. Colonization, all of the Western Hemisphere was about money. That's it.
A recession happens, the economy plummets, a bunch of companies go bankrupt, and only the oligarchs have the money left over to buy up everything when it's being sold for a fraction of its actual worth. If the whole economy goes under, only a small group of people are wealthy enough, not only to be okay, but to start buying and accumulating. They take advantage of people's desperation by buying up all these properties that are being liquidated, so that when the economy rebounds, before maybe they own, let's just say 1% of the economy, but then when everything gets cheap, they have less money in an absolute sense, but everything else is dirt cheap. So they buy. And then when the economy goes back up, now they own 2% of the economy. Yeah, recessions are good for people who, have the hunger and who are, willing to buy, and they have the capital. Will this recession affect other countries or just the EU and America? It'll affect the entire world. The reason they want a recession.
It from nothing nonsense, where you're just, you have to work all day long. If you want to make $500, you have to go work for $500. If the government wants $500, they just print it. That is theft. There is no way of saying that. That is theft, because they are stealing from you your life in the form of inflation. I hope that made sense. And you should clip that soundbite, but that's exactly right. That is exactly what it is. You have to work all day to make $500. Some people don't even make that in a day. And whenever government needs $500, it's no big deal. They just print it or steal it from you. So.